This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Chicago.
This is Chicago. Doors open on the left at Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago.
Welcome to Chicago. You're tuning into the TCSF podcast with Big Z, coming straight from the 606 Media Studios, powered by True Chicago Sports Fans. This is episode 284, A Rose Out of Concrete. And we're fired up to dive into everything that makes Chicago great. Remember, 606 Media, we're your ultimate source for all things Chicago. Swing over to 606media.com to snag your official TCSF podcast t-shirt. Check out our exclusive For the Love of Sports merchandise line. Lots of cool stuff on there. Show off your Chicago pride by supporting us with some gear. Definitely go over there and check out that cool gear. I'll be working on some new designs in the next month. Trying to get some new stuff out there for you guys. But right now, my favorite thing is the Nike Tech shirt that has our logo on it. It's nice and simple, breathable, great materials, and then the camel hoodie. I wear that at least 3 times a week. Yes, I wash it. But I do wear that. If you're watching on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitch, go ahead and subscribe. Smash that subscribe button. And if you're listening on your favorite podcast app, please leave us a 5-star review. It means the world to us. Just drop some nice comments on there. Engage with us, even on the chat, whether it's live or at your leisure. You can leave some chats. I check the chat, and I do respond when I can. So go ahead and do that. You're looking for more ways to get involved, support the show with the monthly subscription at anchor.fm/True Chicago Sports Fans. I'll grab that link. I'll put it in the description after the show. And it's for a little 99 cents a month. You can subscribe to the show and, put some coin in our pocket so we can continue providing the best show for you guys. I know you guys are loving the show, and we need to keep it going. And the only way to keep it going is with your support. So do that. While you're here at 606 Media, subscribe to the rest of the 606 family and Podcated with myself, Big Z. We dive into deep, fascinating stories, engaging discussion, and insightful interviews, and plenty of humor. Now that I'm not coaching bowling and all the observation stuff at work is done, there's a lot of stuff that's off my plate, so I can get back into doing it. Podcated. I got a couple episodes to clean up. I've been saying that for like 6 months, but it's been crazy with the Chicago Bears. And we'll get into that, and I'll try to get some episodes out as soon as possible. You also have No Water on the Weekend with Steven and Sean. They just posted a new episode this past Saturday. Pop culture podcast, serving up funny trivia, film, TV, music, and all of the latest Chicago-centric happenings. Let's bring in our football guru, JC Dynasty Fantasy Football, to the stage. There we go. What's up, brother?
How's it going?
It is going well. There we go. That's a good one right there.
Remind me, who's this Steven person you speak of?
I don't know. Never heard of her. He's not watching her. He doesn't listen to the show. Apparently, he's working at 4 a.m. doing something. I don't know. Working the streets of Cicero. I don't know.
Yeah, I could definitely see him in a mini skirt out there in minus 10-degree weather.
Well,
trying to show some leg.
Times are tough, man. Times are tough.
Gotta sell what you got.
Gotta sell what you got. That's right. Why you got it. All right, JC, I'm ready to strap it in and get ready for an unforgettable ride through Chicago, best Chicago sports, culture, and beyond. So let's get started. And with the hottest thing this weekend was the Chicago Bulls and the Derrick Rose jersey retirement. It was amazing emotional energy at the UC this past Saturday, January 24th, when the Bulls retired Derrick Rose #1 jersey in front of a packed house. Me and I, when we're trying to go, we looked at tickets around 1, 2, or 3 o'clock. I can't remember what time it was. And just to get in the door was like $220. And then I hit up Gabe Ramirez, who said he was going to be working it. And I was like, hey, is the ceremony going to be before, at halftime, or after? Because CHSN is saying they're going to play it afterwards. So I don't know if they're going to record it in halftime. It's a longer halftime. He's like, no, festivities start at 4:30 to 6:30. It was after the game. We could have got into the building for $220 a piece. So kind of gonna have to pick a bone with that dude, man, for lying to me. But I did get to watch it at one of our sponsor bars, Output Lounge. We got to watch the ceremony. It was very, very heartwarming. Chicago's own gets his number up there with the greats of Jerry Sloan, then Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen, um, Phil Jackson. There's his numbers are up there, and he'll never be forgotten. Now, did you get to catch some of that ceremony?
I did not. I don't remember what I was doing. Because you said it was Saturday, right?
It was Saturday. You're off.
Yeah. So yeah, I should have been off work. So yeah, I don't know what I was doing Saturday, honestly. I don't even remember. No, I meant to watch because like I know he gave like a speech. I did see Michael Jordan, his short little tribute to Derrick Rose, but I didn't catch Derrick's speech, and that's something I definitely do want to listen to. Because he was never a very vocal person when
Right.
he was on the Bulls.
Right.
He got interviewed and stuff by the media and whatever, but it was very much like the Bill Belichick, like give the answer to the question and then just sit there and stare at the press. Like he
he was
elaborate.
always no, go ahead.
No, it was just he was a very soft spoken, private person. All the years that he was on the Bulls, it was constantly like, why doesn't he, go out there and try and recruit and all this other stuff? And that just wasn't him. Like that wasn't his style. He just wanted to play ball, and you hear reports that he did at times like talk to players and stuff like that, but I wouldn't say it was really a recruiting session, like LeBron does, where, he takes people out to steak dinners and buys them watches and cars and come play with me, please, so I can win a championship and be greater than Michael.
He will never be greater than Michael.
No, dude, I'm sorry. And I don't mean to get away from Derrick, but maybe we can talk about LeBron a little later in the segment. Because again, I don't feel that LeBron, especially at this point in his career, like you watch him playing now, and it is so clear and evident that he is just stat padding. That is just like, no, dude, you've lost all respect from me. Like just retire and go away, because again, like the tape that you're putting out there as a player, I can't even respect it anymore.
Well, he's giving the Bulls a business right now with 20 points, so
I still don't care. I mean, it again, it's one of those, like, he's not going to take a shot unless he thinks he can make it. And then like he doesn't play defense at all anymore. When he was younger, he was fantastic running down court and blocking layups and stuff like that from behind and everything else. But nowadays, like, he only plays one way. And like I don't even think he crosses the half court line sometimes.
Yeah, he's something else again. Anyway, sticking to Derrick Rose, and we can't talk about LeBron, because you can't speak one without the other, because they played in the same timeline in the same division. Derrick Rose major achievements include the 2011 Most Valuable Player, the MVP award, which he won as the youngest player in the league. And in 2009, he won Rookie of the Year. He is a 3-time All-Star in 2011, 12, and 2010, 11, and 12. He was NBA first team in 2011. He was NBA All-Rookie first team in 2009. FIBA World Cup gold medalist 2010, 2014. In his jersey was retired in 2026. Rose was the overall first pick in the 2008 NBA draft by Chicago, his hometown, born and raised here. In his MVP season, he averaged 25 points, 7.7 assists, and 4.1 rebounds. Look at that. He had more rebounds than Patrick Williams. He led the Bulls to a 62-20 record at that point. The only thing that stopped Derrick Rose was Derrick Rose's body. His body literally just broke down because of how explosive he was, going to the hole, played with, he was fearless going to the hole. Oh my god, there was a couple of games against Orlando where what's his face? Dwight Howard just like swatted him down like a fly, and Derrick's just on the floor, just wincing. And you would take him a couple minutes and he'd get regrouped and was back at it. But he played so recklessly to just to a fault where we loved that he gave his all every single game. He never half-assed it. But it was just that one injury, that knee, with the game already at hand against Philadelphia, and that was it. It derailed his career. It's funny because that was that time I was working for the Bulls, so I got to see a lot of Derrick pre-game and at halftime, and be seeing him warm up and get stretched and interact with the fans. And that dude was just super nice. And I today I was hearing stories because I have a couple of security guards on my job where they know of him and his circle, because I think we have 3 security guards that played in the NBA at our school. So like they, it's a Chicago hometown, circle. Even though they're way older, they still hang around each other's circle. But again, his legacy is huge. Born in the city, everyone knows the story of his the area that he grew up in, him playing in high school, winning the city championship, then going to college, winning, having one and done there, but getting drafted with like minimal chance of getting selected by the Bulls. And you may say it was rigged, and the one time we will take that. I don't care. We got the guy that we wanted, and people wanted Beasley. I did not. I was like, if we're gonna go all in, let's just go in with the kid. I got to see a little bit of his highlights in high school and how good he was. Got to see him play 1 year in college. He's good. He's really good. He was raw still. He had to work on his jumper, which he eventually did. And as soon as he started expanding his 3-point, range, that's when he got hurt.
Yeah, for me, it was with Derrick Rose. Like, he had one of the best like floaters of like any player. Like,
Yeah.
if he was not dunking the ball, he could stop on a dime within 5 feet and just put up a floater.
Yes.
And like, it was like the perfect elevation and the perfect drop.
Yeah.
That it was just like, it was unblockable. And to me, like, it was something of awe to watch. And I'm going to be honest with you. I was critical of Derrick during the time of the injuries because, it took a long time for him to come back from some of these injuries. And same thing with Lonzo Ball. And you sit there and go, as a fan, when you're not getting updates, when you're not being told what's going on and everything else, you start going, is he all in? Is he not all in? What's going on? Like, is he, babying this thing? Is he like, does he need another surgery? Like, and again, like, we're not privy to all that information where you don't know. Like, if hey, we did in the initial surgery, then we had to go back in and do a cleanup, and then, whatever, and it's one of those where, because it took time for him to come back, where, most people come back in 6 to 12 months, it was kind of lingering longer than that. And then, he had the second knee injury, and then it's like, man, like, it took so long to come back from the first one. What's going to happen with the second one? So I'll be honest with you. I was one of those guys that was kind of like, I'll say this, like, when we let Derrick walk and let him go, I didn't have a problem with it. But at the same time,
but it didn't bother me. It hurt, but it didn't bother me. It was time to move on. Yeah, as a business decision, it was time to move on. Finish it up.
Yeah, no, and like I said, hindsight 2020, you look back and then you sit there and go, man, like, how amazing of a player that he was, and how those injuries really zapped everything out of him. Especially after the second knee injury, because he really, I would argue he really wasn't the same player after the second knee injury.
No, he was not. His first injury was the left knee ACL tear in 2012, followed by multiple meniscus tears in the right knee in 2013-15, and then later issues with the left knee in 2017, along with reoccurring ankle problems and a facial fracture. Again, like he's. I don't know who's going to be watching or listening, but it's Grant Hill. Grant Hill had the same kind of like trajectory where he was projected to be like the next Scottie Pippen because he was so versatile as a point forward who can score, rebound, he can play defense, and then his knees just gave out, and he was never the same. Yeah, he ended up in Orlando.
My second favorite player to Michael Jordan, Anthony Hardaway.
Another guy
who just injury after injury after injury, and football. I mean, one of my guys in football. I've had the guy on my dynasty team for I don't know, the past 8 years or so. Cooper Kupp. He had a 2,000-yard season, and then you turn around and look at this season, and he's nowhere to be found. He's a shell of himself. But what just happened?
I was a little warm. I just took myself off.
I was like, your camera went off, and next thing I know, you got a Derrick Rose jersey on. But yeah, I mean, yeah, sports is a weird thing where, man, like injuries can just take everything from you. And quickly, unbeknownst to anyone. Like, I keep sitting here, because, not to talk football, but like I have CMC on my team. I have Saquon Barkley. And it's one of those, like, with the amount of carries and mileage that those guys have on their bodies, it's one of those, like, when is the fall off? Like when does their performance no longer, up to snuff? So it was very hard as a Bulls fan to kind of watch that, because I mean, the baby Bulls, like, it was an exciting team to watch. They played defense. They played old school basketball. They held teams to like 80 points, 86 points, not 140 points a night. Like, that was it. Like, I think Thibodeau would have had a freaking stroke if they allowed like over 110 points. So again, hindsight 2020, you don't appreciate. I mean, again, I appreciated Michael Jordan as a kid, but I think in my early 20s, like, I didn't appreciate Derrick as much as I probably should have.
Yeah, I can see that. And to reiterate your point, we don't know what the medicals were. You're talking about early 2010s. Not a lot of information was being let out. We would hear, Derrick's home, got hurt. Derrick's going through rehab after surgery. I would see him on a 300 level running around, like doing laps prior to the game. And I'm like, he looks pretty healthy to me. Like, if he can run on the concourse, he should be able to run on a basketball court. But, I'm not.
That's running. That's not jumping. That's not being explosive.
And stopping time. Yes, exactly. Again, I'm not in his body. So I don't know what he was able or not able to do. And this is the same time where he got his Adidas contract, which was a huge contract. It was a huge contract because, his shoes had just started to come out, and they were very, very popular. Adidas contract. It was over like 200 million or something like that, right?
It was, I think at the time, it was like one of the largest contracts signed.
Yeah.
But I don't remember exactly what the numbers were, but I know it was enough for him to live comfortably for the rest of his life.
Oh, of course, it was 14 years, 185 at that time. At that time, so that's insane because that would literally be done right now. He's literally done with it right now. And I know just they re-released the number one, the Roses ones for this occasion, but his contract is that contract is up. I don't know if he renewed it at any point.
Yeah, they might have some legacy deal or something where
Right. Oh yeah,
you
yeah,
get
yeah.
royalties or
Of course.
especially if they re-released.
Yeah, definitely they'll be doing that. Yeah. There was a lot of hate on the internet though, and as you know, the internet's especially Twitter, the garbage of social media is Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it.
What were they hating on?
They were saying he doesn't deserve it. He doesn't deserve it to get his number retired. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" The kid that grew up.
Me and you have had this discussion before.
Yeah.
And I think I agreed that he belonged in like a ring of honor, like a celebration of him. But the actual number retirement, I was kind of like, I don't know about that. Like, should he have a statue at the stadium or some sort of like mural artwork, something of that nature, like name on the concourse, like a ring of honor kind of thing? Absolutely. But number retirement, I was kind of like, I don't know. Because again, like I really feel like had he not gotten injured and he had those 2 or 3 years without the injury to continue with the stats that he was putting up, I honestly do think, yes, he would have deserved it. But again, the problem is that the stats, in my opinion, lacked slightly because of those injury years.
So my opinion, wow, it was like, oh, should he get his number retired? Should he not? It's really started swaying when you start looking at he's a Chicago born and raised kid who got to play for his hometown and did not disappoint, never mailed it in, gave his body to the city, gave his body up, was always respectful, was never in the news for something negative, was a pillar in the community giving back. This is the one time the Bulls actually did something correct. They honored one of their own by retiring his number. Now, do his numbers match up with anybody else's? No. They're the 6-time world champion Chicago Bulls. It's Jerry Sloan. I mean, come on. Let's be honest. Bob Love, like, Jerry Sloan, Hall of Famers. Look at their numbers. Also, Jerry Sloan, I think he's from the Chicagoland area as well, but he also went over to coach, finals for Salt Lake City. So does he measure up to those guys? No. But at the same time, he literally brought that organization back from the dead after the Jordan years. So,
Oh, absolutely. And again, I think had he won a championship, changes everything. Had he, and again, I understand he was, the youngest MVP at the time, that he, all-star games, I forget how many years, but again, I just, and this is why I said, like, I'm being honest. I was kind of critical of him and this is why, like I said, from my standpoint, again, absolutely, I want to honor him. He's a Chicago kid, born, bred, like you said, represented the organization to the fullest. But it's one of those where it's like, you have this conversation of like, Eli Manning, does he belong in the NFL Hall of Fame? Like when you look at Eli Manning's stats, they're not the best. He won a couple championships and beat Tom Brady. He was a Tom Brady killer.
Yep.
But at the same time, it's like, is he a first ballot Hall of Fame? Probably not.
Probably not, but he's still going to get in.
He probably will be because of the name. The Manning name, I think, is going to dictate that, he will be, but it's one of those where, like I said, I absolutely 1000% give the kid a statue, give him the name on the Ring of Honor, around the concourse, on the level 200 ring around, all that stuff, and again, basketball is different because, we talk about the Bears. The Bears cannot retire any more numbers.
They had nowhere to play.
They literally cannot retire any more numbers because otherwise they will not have enough jerseys to man a team. Because I think they've retired. I don't even know how many jerseys, but I think like Dicka and some of those guys were like the last numbers to be retired because they physically couldn't anymore. Otherwise, like there wouldn't be enough numbers for the players. Basketball is different. You got 12 guys and you got 99 or I think 0 is a number now in the NBA where I don't think it was a long time ago.
0 and 00. So
yeah,
you got 101.
So it's one of those where there's plenty of numbers to go around in the NBA. So like, again, retiring that number isn't as big a deal as it is in the NFL. From a standpoint of like, having the amount of jerseys to cover a team. But I mean, yeah, he deserves it. Like I said, it's again, I want to celebrate him in some way, some fashion to be like, you were a great part of this organization. With Sandberg and the Cubs, there's statues outside. There's flags hanging on, the billboard or the scoreboard, like the different numbered white pinstripe jerseys are hanging off the old school scoreboard. So every team has their way of doing it. And for the Bulls, it's the retirement of the jersey number. And, he'll be up there with Jordan and Pippen and Rodman and all those guys.
Rodman's not up there yet.
Really? Why did I think Rodman was?
That is my next question, because that was the other part of the hate. The people were saying, well, Rose got his jersey retired faster than
I thought Rodman did.
No, Dennis was inducted to like the Ring of Honor. I forgot which celebration, the first or the second one. He was inducted into that, but his jersey's not retired. His jersey should definitely be retired up there because he was part of 3-bet.
I'll be honest with you. I might be with the Twitter people that if Rodman's jersey's not retired, then Rose probably should be in the Ring of Honor as well. Just from the stand, like, and again, I'm not saying like Rose shouldn't have his jersey retired. I'm not saying that at all. But when you look at like, and again, I mean, Steve Kerr hit some clutch shots, things of that nature. I mean, not that you necessarily want to retire every jersey of every player on those 3-peat teams.
Right.
But I mean, Rodman was such a pivotal role in that second 3-peat that I can't believe his stuff is not retired.
And again, we don't know
unless their argument is like, oh, he was Detroit first, therefore, it's like,
it's a jersey retirement. Detroit can retire his number up there too, because he wore the number 10 for Detroit. He wore 91 for us because it was 9 + 1 is 10 because 10 was already retired. So those are those things. I agree that Rodman should be up there. Now, what do we know about the backstage stuff? We are behind the scenes.
Oh God, there's plenty of stories.
Does he want his number retired by the Bulls? You know what I'm saying?
I mean, from Rodman's Hall of Fame speech and how emotional he was, I absolutely 100% can believe he would love nothing more than to have his.
He would cry the entire time because he cried during the Ring of Honor ceremony. He was just bawling.
Yeah,
he's a very emotional guy, especially when he's being recognized for as much of a attention getter that he was and a distraction that he was. There was a purpose to it, and definitely the Bulls need to rectify that by putting 91 in the rafters. Making it a night, whether it's this year or next year, it has to happen. Again, not taking away from Derrick Rose. He got his night to have him shine and appreciate him. And I think it was a great thing about the Chicago Bulls. And people are up in arms. Guys, it's not like we're not saying he's the best Hall of Famer of all time. We're saying we appreciate you as one of our own, and we're going to retire your number. It's not that big a deal as far as numbers. We only had 5 numbers up there. Now he's the 6th. It's not a big deal. Okay. As far as like, oh, he wasn't the best. Yes, he only averaged 17 points and all that, whatever. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Definitely take care of Rodman next. Definitely do that. Put him in there with that fraternity. And maybe Jordan and Pippen can reconcile and be there to cheer him on. Here's the other thing. There was so much diss on the internet I was reading that he's not a Hall of Famer now.
Who, Derrick?
Yeah. Now,
yeah.
Here's the issue. In my opinion, you're looking at his numbers, he is not a Hall of Famer. In my opinion. But a huge but. Every MVP has been inducted into the NBA Hall of Fame. Every single MVP. So is it going to be a first ballot? No. Is it going to take some time for him to get there? Probably. But so far, every eligible NBA MVP hasn't been inducted to the Naismith Memorial Hall of Fame. How I feel about that? It's whatever. It's really, to me, it's whatever. I don't really think he's up there with the greats as far as you look at the numbers or players who dominated and changed the game for a long period of time. But if that's their criteria, remember, it is not the NBA Hall of Fame. It's the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. So they can put whatever requirements they want. And if he becomes a Hall of Famer, great for Derrick.
Yeah, I mean, I stand by this. Anthony Hardaway is not in the NBA Hall of Fame.
He was never MVP.
I understand that. But to me, like, their careers kind of mirror themselves with the injuries, the stats, everything else. The only thing I will say is that, Anthony Hardaway played with Shaquille O'Neal for all those years.
Yep.
So he had a stud star with him. But again, if you look at, some of the stuff with Anthony Hardaway, and Derrick Rose, from like the injury standpoint, the shortened careers, the, going to play for other teams as like a 6th man because, they don't have it anymore, to be the superstar they were when they started. Again, this is where I'm critical, where it's like, I don't know that he is Hall of Fame. Again, I think he means more to the Bulls and the city of Chicago than he did to the overall NBA.
And that's rightfully so. And that's why his number was retired in Chicago, right? It's not retired all over the league, just Chicago. The Bulls did the thing right and retired his number, gave him his night, gave him his flowers, and now he is up there in the rafters for everyone to see going forward. So, will he be a Hall of Famer? That's to be seen. And whether they put him in or not, it's indifferent to me. Like I said, I know every MVP has gotten in, but at the same time, his numbers, in my opinion, do not qualify for the Hall of Fame. So, on that note, we're at the 34-minute mark. We're going to take a quick break. And on the flip side, we are going to talk briefly about some Bulls news that's going on. And then we'll switch over to baseball and hockey. So we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
Hey there, Chicago enthusiasts. Are you ready to take your fandom to the next level? The True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast has got you covered with some serious cool merch that screams Chicago pride. From cozy sweaters to trendy tank tops, we got it all. Show off your love for the city with our iconic red, white, and blue logo, or stand out with our exclusive collection for the love of sports. Whether you're lounging at home, breaking a sweat at the gym, or cheering on your team at a game, our gear is a must-have for all you diehard Chicago sports fans out there. Don't hesitate. Visit bonfire.com/store/606-media-store/. Or simply just click the link in the description and snag your gear ASAP. Get ready to make some noise, show your pride, and embrace the Chicago spirit with True Chicago Sports Fan podcast merch. Designed for you, the ultimate fan, for the love of sports.
Hey guys, it's Steven.
And this is Sean, and you are listening to True Chicago Sports Fans.
Don't forget to listen to No War on the Weekend. New episodes on Monday. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Yeah, so we're going to go do a couple of shots, so let's kick it back over to Big Z.
Welcome back to True Chicago Sports Fans podcast with Big Z. JC's taking a little break right there. And let's talk about the Chicago Bulls. They did take that victory on Derrick Rose night, 114-111 at 3 finish, triggered by Kevin Huerter having a buzzer beater with 0.2 seconds left at the United Center. Kobe White had 22, including 5 3-pointers, Vucevic had 16, 7, and 6. The bench depth, Jalen Smith, Matas Bacelis scored 14 each, and Huerter hit that dagger to win the game. Bulls played an okay game. They should have blown them out. I know both teams had leads of 8 points throughout the game, but again, the lack of defense is what's letting every other team back in it or giving the Bulls to play from behind. Bring JC back in there. He's back. With this win, Chicago posted its 4th victory and climbed to 500, moving into the 8th seed in the contention. But you know, we got some troubled waters ahead. You've got Trey Jones with a hamstring injury, should be out 2 weeks. We got the impending trade of Kobe White. Minnesota has been inquiring about him, but they're unsure if they can re-sign him for multiple years after that, right? And if you look at the Bulls' history with trades, they do not do well. This is why I said this administration needs to go. The Bulls let DeRozan hit the unrestricted free agency, and then got that signing trade with Sacramento for Quis Duarte, who's no longer in the league. 2 second-round draft picks. Okay, not a great return. They held on to Levine way too long. Finally traded him. They got Zach Collins and Kevin Huerter. Okay, Collins has been hurt. Huerter's been in and out. Trey Jones as well in that trade. Trey Jones has been good for us, but he's hurt at the moment. And we also got back our first-round pick from the Spurs. But what have we done? What have we done to make this team better? Nothing. We got a lot of pending free agents. We've covered that over and over. The only good trade I would say is the Isaac Okoro for Ball. But at the same time, like, there's a lot of repetitive. There's Patrick Williams. No one wants that contract. No one wants to trade for him. And his 8 minutes and 4 points a game for being a big guy is pathetic. Just pathetic. So there's a lot to be wanting with the Chicago Bulls when you look at the team. But there's not much to look at when you look at what's going on with the Chicago Bulls. Right now they're down 74-67 to the Lakers. So don't expect that one to come back and win. I just don't see that. If LeBron James and Luka Doncic are motivated to win a game, they could do it. But they also, I was talking about trade Kobe over there. But what are you going to get back? Rui Hachimura? There's really nobody else on that team that you would want.
You want picks, and LA is a team that doesn't necessarily want picks or need picks, right? Because of LeBron. It's one of those. You have to find a team that's playoff ready, that doesn't really care about a first or second rounder, because they have the team for the next 3 to 5 years, such as like OKC or whoever. Like some of these teams at the top that again, I'm a football guy.
I know.
So you know what I mean? Like, so when I'm talking like a dynasty roster that is ready to win a championship, you don't mind trading those picks to get that stud. to put you over the top. All right. And those are the people you need to be trading with. And the bottom line is, I don't think the Bulls have the brass or the people in the front office to pull these kind of trades with the teams they need to be trading with. They're going to be trading with like teams at the bottom of the barrel and trying to get assets back and everything else. And it's like, no, get the picks. Even if the picks are 2 years down the road, I don't care. But you better get something better than a second.
Yes. Yeah. Right now, Kobe's making $12 million, so he's very underpaid when it comes to his production. I think he's averaging like 21 points since he's come back. But you want to trade with the Pistons and the Celtics, who are 1-2 in the East, and then on the West, you want to trade with the Thunder, like you said. Maybe the Spurs. I mean, I don't know. The Spurs are too smart to be doing dumb trades. The Nuggets, the Rockets.
I mean, I know the Spurs at one point when like Wemby was a thing, they had a ton of picks. So I don't know if they still have that, cachet of, picks still. But again, like that's the thing is you got to find those teams where it's like, oh, first, you want a first? Yeah, sure. No, whatever. If it wins us a championship, we don't care.
Exactly. And that's the approach you should be doing if you are in that winning window, that championship window. That's going to get a player.
How about this? I mean, Golden State just lost Jimmy Butler, did they not?
They did. They're in the 8th seed too. They're 26-21. You know the West is always way more competitive. The 9th seed is playing 500.
Maybe they don't care about Kobe White being on a 1-year deal.
No, you're right. Maybe they don't. I mean, they're aging out. Steph is not the old Steph. His body can't keep up anymore. He's not, playing every single back-to-back. Yeah, there's some issues there with the Warriors. They're aging out. The Timberwolves, they've got a pretty good team that can put them over, but they're just worried about not being able to re-sign them. Okay, then that means you're not in a championship window. You're not willing to make that push. The Suns, got no faith in them. The Rockets would be a team, but I don't think they have the cap room because of Durant's contract and everyone else that they got on that team. The Nuggets and Spurs, I don't know what the contract, their cap room is either, but I would assume the Thunder are under the cap because they've drafted and developed players very well. And again, the Spurs, if you can get like you said, a first round pick in 2027, 2028, cool. Let's do it. While I love Kobe, and this was an argument at the bar on Saturday, like, oh, you're defending Kobe. I'm like, no, I defend him because he is a hot and cold player. Can he put up 30 one night and then 8 the next night? Yeah, he's exactly like Zach LaVine. He's hot and cold. And, that guy's, his name is Angelo. He was like, oh, well, I would take Zach over Kobe any day. I'm like, yeah, and you would lose every single night because that's what happened when they had Zach. Zach doesn't have that killer instinct. He had to defer to DeMar to be the killer. He couldn't put a team on his back. Now he's a role player over in Sacramento. What is Sacramento doing? They're 12-35. They're worse than the Bulls with DeRozan and LaVine. So if you want to talk about who's the better player, in my opinion, Kobe is right now. But at the same time, he does not fit with Giddey and Buzelis, in my opinion. And there's also rumors that they might, re-sign Vooch. If you re-sign Vooch, you have to center the offense around Vooch. Let him be the centerpiece like they did with Noah. Let him touch the ball every single possession. Let him make the decision. Let him be the quarterback. And also take your time. I know this is the new NBA of run and gun. But if you don't have the ability to shoot the three like the rest of the NBA, you're going to get blown out when you can't hit those threes. And I know that's the NBA now, and that's why people are turning it off. Because of that, there's no defense, it's no organization. It's just literally running up the court and chucking up a three. And literally, we were watching the game, and I'm like, watch, Kobe's not passing. Chucking up a three, chucking up a three. And nothing but bricks, and no one to rebound. So there's a lot to say about the Bulls. I know, we both grew up watching the Bulls, and even like you said, the baby Bulls that were very good. but it's a bad brand of basketball all the way around, and something needs to be done about that. So
Yeah, well, we both can admit that right now the state of the Bulls is they're a mediocre team.
Yep.
They're not good enough to win a championship, but they're not good enough to lose to get a top pick. So the bottom line is, I was just doing a little research, and granted, this is from September of 2024, but OKC has 13 first-round picks. The Brooklyn Nets have 13 first-round picks. The Utah Jazz, 13 first-round picks. All three of them altogether total 29 picks between the first and second round. So again, those are the teams that you need to hit up and be like, we have 0 first-round picks. We'll gladly take some of those. Like, you guys want to have better talent in Brooklyn? Cool. We'll send you Kobe.
We'll send you Patrick Williams and we'll pay the salary. We just want him off the roster.
Again, that'll cost us draft picks, and we're trying to gain draft picks.
No. We're gonna give them Patrick Williams, but we'll pay for the salary. You just want him off the roster.
No, because again, no team is going to do that unless they're being paid in assets. So, like, you're going to have to send Patrick Williams and a first or multiple firsts for them, even if you are paying his salary. They're going to want draft capital back in return in order to take him. And I'm not doing that. Like, I don't know how long Patrick Williams has left on his contract, but literally I would look him in the face and be like, dude, don't even show up. Like, we'll pay you, but don't even show up.
Yeah, give him a ghost injury.
Or just like literally just show up to the practice, whatever, so that we can run drills and whatever. But when it comes to game day, like, just go sit in the freaking locker room with the trainers. Like, don't even come out on the floor because you're not going to get any minutes.
Oh, man. No, not at all. All right, I think I'm done with the Bulls for right now. So let's talk about something a little bit more uplifting, which is our Chicago Cubs. Recently, they inked a 3-time All-Star Alex Bregman to a 5-year, $175 contract. Contract includes no trade clause, a full no trade clause. So he's demonstrating the mutual commitment to stay, to being a stable person with the club and trying to get to contention. He brings a proven bet that posted 92 wins in 2025. He's being added to a 92 win team. So he's going to add some power, some leadership, some experience in playoffs, some postseason experience, right? All of that stuff. I think he's going to do well hitting at Wrigley. I think it's a great addition. I wish they would have got him last year. I think that would have been the difference maker last year of having Bregman at third. But I mean, I like this signing. It's a splash. Let's see what else they can do. But what is your impression of Bregman on the Cubs?
Let me start with this. Did you see the video of Bregman pitching to his kid in the batting cage?
No, I didn't get to see that.
His son is like, I don't know, maybe 2 feet tall. He looks like he's like maybe 4 years old. That kid had eye bat contact. My God, like the kid's gonna be a future star. So let me start with that. I mean, his hand-eye coordination at his age in the batting cage was just ridiculous. So I'll start with that. Yeah, I mean, with Bregman, it's a signing. It kind of riles up the Cubs fans, but it's one of those where it's like, does it put us over the top? Does it make me think that I can beat the Dodgers or Toronto? I don't know. I know there's rumors out there that we're quote unquote not done yet. We'll see. Again, we're losing Tucker, which, don't get me started on that. And his contract and who he signed with, because I will absolutely lose it. But it's one of those, like, I feel like we still need a right fielder, unless like we're turning to Alcantara. We have Shaw. Do we now trade Shaw?
No.
Are we trading Nico Horner and then moving Shaw to second?
Yeah.
Like there's a whole like laundry list of questions I have, where it's the hole we needed to fill was right field, which would have been Tucker or Bellinger or, of that nature. Where, like we had Shaw. Is Shaw the guy that is going to win you a championship? Not necessarily. Is Bregman going to be the guy to win you a championship? I feel kind of the same way in the way of how I feel about Shaw. The only difference is Shaw's a young talent on a young contract where, there's still room for improvement where Bregman is established. Like I said, it's, this is why I brought up, maybe we should have on Cody, because Cody would be a good, guy to soundboard off of his expectations of Bregman. Where again, I'm kind of neutral. It's one of those, I look at the top teams, again, the Dodgers, Toronto, etc., and go, I don't know that we can beat them. I think we're going to be a talented team. I think we're going to go to the postseason. I think we're going to be right there. But that's what we said last year. And then we ended up getting our asses kicked by the Brewers.
Bless me. Jesus Christ. Wow, that just made me sneeze. If you're looking at the outfield for the Chicago Cubs,
talking about Wisconsin does that to you. just in general.
You've got Gold Glover Ian Happ in left field. He's not going anywhere. Yeah, Pete Armstrong not going anywhere, right? Those are your staples right there. In right field, Seiya Suzuki has proved that he can't handle the day-to-day operations of being
he's
right
a liability.
Field. He's a liability. It's one of those,
okay, so then you're talking about defensively, you could bring up Alcantara.
Yep.
To be your defensive, whatever. But at the same time, I feel like if he's going to be the guy in the field, then his bat is suspect. In
right, and did you want to give him a full season of trying to see if he can resuscitate that bat? And then Matt Shaw can play the outfield. Matt Shaw can play right field. He's designated as a third right fielder right now on the Chicago Cubs website, and also third as left field as well. So that's where the conundrum might be, is where he might be sharing some outfield time and some second base and some third base time to give these guys a breather. But Matt Shaw showed
you're going to make Shaw a utility guy.
That's what it looks like, right? Because there's nowhere to put him.
Yeah,
there's nowhere to put him.
I mean, I'm fine with that, I guess. I mean, again, it doesn't really, Bregman's going to be the guy at third, obviously. You got, oh my gosh,
Michael Busch.
Why can I not think of our shortstop right now?
Oh, Swanson.
Thank you. So you got Swanson, you got Horner, and you got Busch. I mean, really, I've said, we definitely need a catcher that can frame pitches better in this day and age of, pitch framing. But like I said, when you look at all the positions, Bregman, Swanson, Horner, Busch, Happ, and Pico Armstrong, where's the weakness? It's right field.
It is right field.
So I really think that's where the problem is. And like I said, we signed Bregman at third, but the problem really wasn't. Shaw was decent defensively last year. His bat was suspect. So, and as I've said before, for the Cubs, I need the Cubs to stop being a home run team and a hit for contact team. I need you to get guys on base and move them along. The days of, the Schwarber and Chris Bryant and Rizzo just hitting homers. We've seen how many times in the playoffs pitchers get stingy. They don't give home runs up like that. So it's one of those, if you live and die by the home run, you're going to die in the playoffs.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the free agents still out there. Whether it's a left fielder, center fielder, or right fielder, I think they can still play right. Mike Talkman would be an option. He played for you guys. He played for us. He is older. He's 35. As a 2.4 WAR, so he's going to get you 2.5 games of wins. Other than that, there's nobody up there with a WAR as a right fielder, a good WAR. Center fielder is nothing. There's nothing out there for you.
Yeah, I mean, me and you last week we talked about Lou Bob, and then of course, as soon as we talk about it, Lou Bob got traded to the Mets. So it's one of those, we were kind of talking something into
Existence, yeah.
existence, but just with the wrong team, I guess. Um, yeah, like I said, I'm excited for the Cubs. Why? Because of all the moves we made with our pitching staff, right? Because when you look positionally, even last year, like I thought we had a good team. Did we have a hittings lull there and in between like July, August, September where we weren't, hitting as well as, we were early in the season? Yes, I think we did have an issue. Kyle Tucker had an injured hand, which, it seemed like once that healed up, all of a sudden he was kind of back to his, former self from the beginning of the season. But again, it's one of those where the problem with the Cubs was at the end of the game when you needed somebody to come in and close it out and shut the door on a team and not give up 3 runs in the 8th and 9th, we had nobody. There was nobody there. So it's one of those, like the fact that we have invested a lot of our free agent money into the bullpen and the arms makes me happy as a Cubs fan.
The Cubs did address the bullpen with Caleb Thibar, Archer Henry, Jacob Webb, and the big domino, and we'll spend a little bit of time on this because I know we're pressed for time here, was the Edward Cabrera trade. While you've got a really good pitcher on a team-friendly contract at the moment, you traded your number 1 prospect, Owen Casey, an outfielder, which is what you need, is an outfielder. Now
I was going to bring that up a few minutes ago when we were talking about Shaw and signing Bregman. It's like, so we should have traded Shaw, not Casey.
Yeah. You should have traded, because you gave up Owen Casey, number 47 overall in MLB. Christian Hernandez, a corner infielder, outfielder, Edgardo De Leon in exchange for Cabrera. So you gave up 3 players, one being a top prospect in your organization and a couple of very low guys, right? I mean,
but I mean, okay, so what's more important? What's more important right now? Because, Justin Steele is not 100%. We obviously saw that Shota had issues down the stretch. Like what was more important, Owen Casey or an arm? And my argument is yes, and an arm was definitely more important than Owen Casey, but I'll argue that we traded the wrong position player because, again, I think knowing the fact that we signed Bregman and then looking back at the fact that right field is an issue defensively, we should have traded Shaw, not Casey.
You also traded Cam Smith for Kyle Tucker and then let Kyle Tucker walk.
Yes.
That's another outfield number 4. It was your number 14.
I mean, how did Cam Smith finish? Because I know early in the season he was not having that great of a season.
He finished the season 236, 9 home runs, 51 RBIs, and 105 hits.
I mean,
not bad for a first year. Not bad
I
for his
was
first
gonna
year.
say I mean, let's see
I mean,
what
limited.
what did Shaw put up last year?
He had a 1.9 WAR, 441 at bats, 104 hits, 9 home runs, batted to 236, 55 runs, 51 RBIs. He slugged 358, OPS of 671. I mean, it's not a bad season.
So,
For the
so would you
Miami.
say? So, like, I'm trying to pull up the numbers myself, but
What, for Kyle Tucker?
it sounded like the RBIs was very similar. Because you said Shaw Smith was 51. What was Shaw?
Are you talking about Shaw or Tucker? I'm talking about Tucker.
Oh no, I'm talking about I was comparing Cam Smith and Shaw.
Oh, yeah, I can put Matt Shaw.
Let's see.
Is it Matt Shaw? Sorry, it's yeah, it is Matt Shaw. Why isn't it coming up? Matt Shaw, yeah. There he is. Matt Shaw in how many games did he play?
At bats, 393 at bats, average 0.226, runs 57, hits 89, home runs 13, RBIs 44. So
Very similar.
in what I would probably say less games, because Shaw did not start till later in the season, where I believe Cam Smith was starting right away for the team that he got traded to.
It's a difference of 50 at bats.
So 50 at bats, you're talking 7 more RBIs by Cam Smith. Hits was, I think you said 100 something for Cam Smith. Shaw had 89. So, I mean, yeah, for 50 at bats, that's, Cam Smith is better. But I mean, I guess it would be almost a very similar rookie season for the two of them.
Yeah. Again, it's very comparable, but again, you gave up Kyle Tucker. I mean, you got Kyle Tucker for Cam Smith when you did have a logjam of young talent that you could have given away. And again, if you're going for it and you're going to keep that guy to continue to put you over the edge, and then you added Bregman, now we're talking about a team, right? That's going to be stacked from top to bottom. That's not what happened, and that's disappointing. That's a disappointing
But again, like, okay, where would Cam Smith start?
No. But no, I'm saying if you traded Cam Smith, I'm fine with it.
Yeah,
but you keep Tucker though, because you gave a high draft pick. You gotta re-sign Tucker. I understand.
No, we cannot re-sign Tucker for what the freaking Dodgers paid.
No. I understand that. I completely understand that, because he was going to sign with Toronto, and then the Dodgers like, hey, we're going to give you dumbass money and $60 million a year going down the line. Okay, great.
Yeah. Like I said, there's no way. I mean, and this is why, I don't think we're prepared to go into my rant of the fact that MLB needs a salary cap, a floor and a ceiling hard. Like, I don't think we're ready for that rant yet. So I'll hold on to that rant. But the bottom line for me is, with the Cubs, it's going to come down to pitching. Like, if our pitching can get there this season, then that's as far as the Cubs will go, is based on our pitching. Because I can't tell you how many games last year that, you're sitting there like, okay, we're going into the 7th, 8th inning, we're up by 1 or we're up by 2, and next thing you know, like, a team puts up 3 runs on us in the last 2 innings. And like, as a Cubs fan, like, that drives you nuts that, since Chapman, we, I know we had a closer the year after Chapman that we traded for. It was a K name that I'm blanking on. It's Kluber, or I forget who it was.
Your closer?
Yeah, the closer at the year after Chapman.
Kimbrel?
Kimbrel. Yeah. Arm elbow. Yeah. And again, like, we trade for closers, But I don't know what it is with the Cubs that we can never like get a guy of our own. Like we cannot teach anyone to be a closer in our franchise.
I mean, yeah, you guys haven't really developed one ever, ever.
No. Like I said, we've traded for Chapman as a rental. We traded for Kluber as a rental. But we have never had, and again, we prior, Kerry Wood, we've done well with starting pitchers, but again, closers that can come in and be that guy that's gonna like, and I know it's not very often that you have a closer that it's like, oh, this guy's coming in the game, it's over. But it like the Cubs, even the year of the World Series, like they were mismanaging Chapman to where it's like, I don't know that Chapman's going to get it done.
You don't.
So,
You don't.
Yeah, the bottom line is, you know what? I'm excited as a Cubs fan. I do think that we have improved as a team overall, like from a pitching aspect, which is going to help. Because if you have pitchers that can go in there and control a game and not give up runs like we did last year that, we shouldn't have been giving up, then that also helps the offensive side. So
I'm just saying,
and
sign
we're gonna
Verlander.
look back. I know we want to get to some other things.
Yeah, sign Verlander. Definitely be a nice little band-aid.
I was sitting here trying to look it up the whole time because, like I was reading like a Cubs aren't done yet post, and there was a Gore.
Oh, Mackenzie Gore?
Yeah, there was
Gore got traded
he?
to Texas. Yeah, he got traded to Texas.
Because there was some pitcher that we were linked to. But again, I know the Cubs were in talks, but I didn't know if that was who they were talking about. And maybe.
Yeah, there's been a couple of trades out there. And then speaking of trades, and we alluded to it a little earlier, the White Sox made some moves and finally, just like the Bulls, a couple years too late, traded Luis Robert to the Mets, receiving Luis Angel Acuna. That is Ronald Acuna's little brother, and pitching prospect Truman Pauly in return. So you got a young center fielder who can play the infield as well. He is the only player in Venezuelan, because he's playing down south in Venezuela for the Winter League. He hit 4 home runs in a game. Only player to ever do that. Why that is an anomaly, and the last homer was off a position player. It's still a home run. So this kid has played just a cup of coffee in the major leagues. He's controlled for 5 years. Will he play center field for the White Sox starting opening day? I don't know yet. I don't know if the White Sox are done making moves to fill in their holds. But if you pull up Luis Angel Acuna, excuse me, he's 23 years old. He's still listed as an infielder, but he does play the outfield. He's been playing the outfield in the Winter League. And one of the big knocks on him was that he didn't have power, but he's been showing that he does have power. Last year he batted 175 times, hit 41 hits, no homers, 234, 30 runs, 8 RBIs, 16 stolen bases. He's very, very fast. He's very fast. So if that is what they're looking for, is more of the grinders, slappers, hitters that can get on base, steal a base, and keep the bases moving. Okay, let's go for it. Let's go for it.
That's what I've been saying for the Cubs, especially because Wrigley Field is such a small damn freaking field. Like you need those guys like Benny the Jet that could slap a ball opposite field and just get on base. You know what I mean? Like I understand because Wrigley Field is such a small field that you want to hit home runs there. But like I said, there's something to be said about guys that can play small ball. Like, okay, great. They don't have the power to hit home runs, but can they get on base? Can they hit the ball to all fields? You know what I mean?
And that's the thing is, if he's going to be replacing Robert, let's say it's a 1-for-1 replacement, right? Robert was playing 80-something games a season. Okay, not enough. He missed about 300 or 400 games in the last 5-6 years. He played just as much, right? He's been playing half a season because he's always getting hurt. If this kid, let's say it's a 1-for-1 transaction, that he plays center field going forward, he's your center fielder. If he doesn't have power, great. Put him at leadoff. Hey, kid, just slap the ball into right field, opposite way, get on base, steal second. Let the next hitter push you over to third. I'll fly out. Now we got to run. It's 1-0 in the first inning.
Yeah.
That's how you get winning baseball, by putting pressure on the other team, by scoring first consistently. And if you put pressure on the pitcher that, oh my God, this guy's going to steal. Okay, now you're in his head. Yes, small ball works. You saw that it worked for the White Sox in 2005. Yes, we had some boppers, but it was a small ball that won it. That Scott Pasenik, the Joe Creedy, that won us those games. All right. So again, while we don't know what the return is going to be long term with Luis Angel Acuna, because you're looking at a name because of Ronald Acuna. You look at a name and you're like, all right, well, we'll take a flyer. Well, you know what happened last time we took a flyer on a name? We fucked it up. Tatis. Okay. We had one. We traded him when he was super young, 18, 19, whatever. But we took a flyer at a kid with a big name, and he came out to being something good. And sometimes some players need a change of avenue, a change of address to get them to flourish. Good. I hope that's the case for Luis Angel Acuna, and I hope that it turns out to be a great trade. Luis Robert, thank you for what you did for us. I really believed in you for a very long time, but you showed me that you can't stay healthy. And it's also the last player of the last rebuild regime. That regime promised us so much, and they took a different approach. They signed all the players that had very good promises very early to lock them up into team-friendly contracts, and then they can be with us for a very long time. It was a different strategy. It blew up in our face. Moncada, garbage. He resigned with the Angels this week. It looks like Tim Anderson. You know, after he got knocked out, he wasn't the same player ever again. Abreu out of the league. Right, all those guys are gone. They're either out of the league or playing softball somewhere. But I really think what gets and everybody, Bannister and everybody that's with the White Sox organization now, I think they're taking a very smart approach on how to draft players, how to trade for players, how to sign players. And yes, they take a couple reclamation projects, and if they can flip them, great. Let's get more assets and more assets and more assets. They also signed a bullpen, a closer by the name of Sir something? What is it his name? Oh, Sir Anthony Dominguez, a 2-year, $20 million contract, so $10 million per year. So $10 million out of Luis Robert has already been spent. So they are being aggressive. So you got a closer in the bullpen now. All right. You got a young kid that can take over center field, hopefully, right? We've got like 5 catchers on our team. We just acquired another catcher from the waivers from the Mets, Drew Romo. We're building a catching dynasty with Kyle Teo and Edgar Carroll and the rest of the knuckleheads that we got on the White Sox. Who was our third catcher? I thought I had it off the tip of my tongue. Oh, yeah. Corey Lee. All right. Corey Lee struggled a little bit, but Kyle T has shown that he's going to be the guy, and so is Edgar Carroll. So, again, if you can save a catcher's knees by having these guys alternate by playing DH or catching, great. Keep it fresh as long as possible. You also saw with the White Sox having Murakami land on their lap. And while it's a short contract, it's a 2-year contract with an opt-out. Okay, what if he succeeds? Okay, then you sign him. Let's be honest. The White Sox really don't spend over $100 million. Maybe it'll change. Maybe that'll change. Maybe it'll change. Maybe old man Jerry in his senile years, 3 years from now, says, go ahead, go with it. Spend the farm. We don't know. Let's looking at someone else. What else did we sign? We got a couple of players on there. No.
Yeah, I mean the great thing for your White Sox right now is that the offense that they put up last year towards the end of the season was phenomenal. I mean, how many games did they win in August, September?
A shitload.
Yeah.
They were raking. Yeah.
Enough that you got a hat from Steven.
Oh, he still owes me 2 hats because the Cubs didn't make the other thing either. So, Steven has a job now apparently, so he can pay for that. And yeah, so he's in debt with me, big debt. I know where he lives. I'm gonna break his
Yeah.
kneecaps.
Well, again, so where I'm kind of like, oh, the Cubs this, Cubs that, and I'm kind of like, water's warm, but it ain't scalding hot. It's one of those where, like I said, the White Sox, like you could see the bubbles, like the water's starting to boil a little bit. They have the offensive, like the young kids came to play last year. So like if you can put a pitching staff around them, you can put. I could see in 2 years that the White Sox could be something. And you have the payroll that you could go out and sign a few more guys, to some contracts to fill out the rest of the roster.
I'm looking at and then while you were saying that, I'm looking at the different our 40-man roster as far as pitchers. The White Sox can very much develop pitchers. That's never been an issue for us. As you've seen, the rest of the league has half of our pitchers that we developed. But looking at the pitchers that should be coming up very soon, Kai Bush, Jonathan Cannon, Wickerman Gonzalez. You're looking at Jordan Leisure. Jordan Leisure's a veteran. Tanner McDougal. Who was my other one? There's one more. Shane Smith. That's my other guy. And Grant Taylor. Andrew Thorpe. Like there's some the arms that are coming up. And the rotation as it looks like right now, it's gonna be Davis Martin being the veteran, Anthony Kay, another veteran, Sean Burke, another veteran. So you got a couple of veterans right there. And then Shane Smith, the young buck, along with Drew Thorpe and Kai Bush. Those are going to be your back end. In the bullpen, you got Jordan Leisure and Grant Taylor and Mike Vassell. Like you've got some good ones. Will Wickerman Gonzalez make the roster for opening day? We don't know that yet, but he had some pretty electric stuff. So does Jonathan Cannon and Tyler Gilbert. Gilbert being an older gentleman. But again, our catching system right there, boom, that's all set. 3 studs. First base is covered now that you have Murakami. Second base, Chase Mydroff, solid right there. Miguel Vargas flourished now that he knows that it's his job to have, and if you fail, that's on you. They give him the keys to third base. He can make the throws, he can make the plays there. Can his bat stay consistent is the issue, right? We did pick him up from the Dodgers, and the Dodgers do have very good prospects that they developed. So we'll see what Miguel can do for us. Montgomery, solid at short, stud, right? And then you have left field, Andrew Benintendi. This is a question mark. This guy is, what is he, 30? 30, he's going to be 32, so he's 31. This might be the guy that needs to be traded off the White Sox. I don't think he is fast enough in left field for us. I don't think he has the greatest arm that we need out there. He might be the next piece to be traded, and I believe that'll be during the season. I don't think it'll be right now. But you're going to have to provide a solution for that before you trade him. He was the highest contract for the White Sox, and now it's Murakami. Looking at AAV, annual value. But you got Benintendi and Brooks Baldwin in left field. Brooks Baldwin looks like he's going to be starting in center field. Luis Angel Acuna, it would be under him. They signed Derrick Hill, a veteran, and then they have Brooks Baldwin right. So, like, they do not have any outfielders. If you see, Brooks Baldwin is playing everywhere at the moment. They don't have any outfielders. So that's something they need to address either now or during spring training. And if I look at their 40-man roster and pull up the right field for outfielders, it's bare minimum. Brooks Baldwin, Benintendi, Derrick Hill, Everson Pereira, and Tristan Peters. Go sign Tachman. Put him in right field. Sorry. He's a Palatine pounder. Put him back out there. Hopefully he doesn't tear his hamstring again while running the home from third. Oh, we need another veteran that can man right field. It's funny that both teams have a hole at right field. And for us, we had a hole in right field for decades after the World Series. So it's an issue. It's an issue. But again, the White Sox are slowly, like you said, they're simmering right now. They're simmering. So wait to see. I can't wait to see what's going to happen this season. And closer to after spring training,
is there some regression? Because they're a young team. There could be.
There could be the sophomore slump. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, what you saw last year has to give you hope that you're on the up rather than on the down.
And we got the number one pick.
Yeah, which that's pretty much a guarantee of who you're taking. To go back to the Cubs right quick, the player that I was talking about, I'm like, why did this change? Where is it? The pitcher that I was talking about was Zach Gallen. There was rumor the Cubs are talking to him. So it wasn't Mackenzie Gore that you had mentioned. It was the Zach Gallen kid. So just throw that out there. Back to the White Sox. I mean, yeah, you know what? You're kind of in this situation where, yeah, you still might have some holes that you got to fill in. Look, finding a right fielder. I feel like your team is going to continue with the young guys and let them prove themselves rather than sign a Talkman. That's just my opinion of where the White Sox are at. I feel like you guys are more of a let the young guys cook rather than bringing in somebody and paying them $10 million just because they're a veteran. I don't see the White Sox doing that.
You might do that with a pitcher just to flip them for some prospects or some players later down, and the White Sox are really good about doing that. But right now, like you said, the young kids are going to get a shot of playing a full season. We saw how they fixed Colson Montgomery. We saw Chase Mydroff flourish. They're addressing first base, and now that they got the number one pick, and it's God willing that it is Rock Chalowski, from UCLA. He is a shortstop, so someone's job is going to be in jeopardy if this kid's going to be a stud. They're saying he's the best all around since Troy Tulowitzki. Like between number 1 and 2, like there's such a gap in talent, and we got if he's the one guy that they draft, and he's a stud. Look out to have a superstar. And let's say he plays third or short. I mean, or second. It doesn't matter. You can move all those guys around. If you got a stud, you'll move around any of these players just to get this guy in the lineup. And I've seen some video of him. He's a stud. I saw an interview with his coaches. I've been doing some research on this kid, and he's, oh my God, I'm so excited. And the thing is that the draft isn't for another like 200 days.
Yeah. Well, I mean, when the last MLB draft was going on, I just remember like screaming, like, why do the Cubs keep taking position players? Like, we need pitching. Like, what the?
Yeah.
And then they go out and sign everybody in free agency, and we, fix the bullpen that way. So, it's, and I don't disagree. Like, pitching is such a weird thing that, you're never guaranteed that a guy is ever going to, equate, when it comes to pitching in the MLB. Like, I feel like the top guys, like there are a few studs out there that, they were meant to be the number one guy, and they did become the number one guy. But, how many pitchers get drafted in the MLB draft and, never make it past AAA and AA, and, they just never become what you expect. And then there's guys that you never expect and they become something. So
Yeah, it really depends. Two things. One, how much of a difference in philosophy there is from like going from high school to college to the pros, wherever they may be going. And second of all, right now, pitchers are being trained to throw hard every single pitch. And guess what? They're lasting 3, 4, maybe 5 innings at the most.
yeah.
Whereas, in the 80s and 90s, you had guys who would throw 120, 130 pitches because they knew how to pitch and know how to control themselves so they don't have to throw at 110% every single pitch. This is the other reason why a lot of these young pitchers are getting hurt and they're getting Tommy John very early.
Yeah. I mean, we could go into that and talk about mechanics and all that other stuff. And we can talk about the fact that, pitchers nowadays versus, like the Nolan Ryans back in the day, like
throwing 240 pitches in a complete game. Yeah.
But now you have pitchers that, they're throwing 100 miles an hour, 103 miles an hour. And the bottom line is that like arms are not meant to do that. The stress on the arm, the mechanics, the everything else, it's not meant to do that long term. And the bottom line is that everything now is about, we need that guy that pitches 100 miles an hour rather than, the professor out there hitting spots and stuff with just a little bit of movement that just throws the batter off just enough.
Mm-hmm.
I watched a documentary on like the I forget his name, but like the last screwball pitcher in the MLB. And that like the screwball's starting to come back, and a few different pitchers are trying to throw screwballs now and things like that. And it's one of those where it's like, dude, if you get something like a screwball that like you don't know where the movement's going, like that is a tremendous pitch.
It is. So is the the knuckleball.
Or I'm sorry, I meant the knuckleball, not
the
screwball.
knuckleball is something. I mean, you're starting to see that come back a little bit with in the high schools where some kids are actually throwing it. It's a sick knuckleball curve that just dives. It's crazy. I've seen some videos on that. But yeah, I digress on baseball. I'm excited for baseball season. We're gonna put together a couple live events for opening day for both teams. I'm working on that right now, so look out for that. Let's wrap up the pod with some Chicago Bears news quickly. Chicago OC Declan Doyle withdraws from the Eagles search. He does have other interests from other teams, but he has withdrawn from that. I know the Ravens are looking at him as well. What is Ivan texting me now?
He's texting that he's home.
Oh yeah, well, he's probably
he's right on time for Bears talk.
He's right on time for Bears talk. Well, he's got to do his show. That's the thing. He's got to do all that. So, Declan Doyle still a Chicago Bear OC, so that's great. Nahshon Wright was added to the NFC roster Pro Bowl games. Let's see.
Yeah, we lost Bieniemy. Which
Bieniemy.
I don't understand how we lost Bieniemy, but I don't think Nagy has been hired yet.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird that it's like
he's never been officially hired.
Conclusion.
Yeah, foregone conclusion. If you already named him your OC, Nagy's gone. And if he doesn't get a job, he's going to be left holding the bag. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff.
Frankly, like I don't think Nagy's done anything to deserve a head coaching job.
No.
You go to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs have had like 2 down seasons. The past 2 years, which, Kelsey's getting older and they can't seem to find, the wide receivers to complement Pat Mahomes. And like I said, their overall team is down. But the one I'm keeping an eye on is Ian Cunningham, whether or not he gets the job in Atlanta.
Yeah.
because that will prove tremendous for us, because there was a whole thing about the verbiage of, because Matt Ryan became the president of football operations in Atlanta. And then basically, because the way it's worded, for compensatory picks, if Ian Cunningham goes to Atlanta, do we get the picks because Matt Ryan is, blah, blah, blah. Well, the rumor is that yes, if Ian Cunningham does go to Atlanta, even though Matt Ryan is in a position, we would still get compensatory picks, is kind of the gist, is what I've heard. That said, that would be tremendous for us to get 2 third-round picks for Ian Cunningham getting the general manager position in Atlanta. That would be absolutely huge for us, because we are in a little bit of a cap issue. Not bad. I actually this week got into a spat on Facebook, because there was a guy, I don't know how, you get some random stuff that pops up in your feed every once in a while, but it was some guy talking trash about people don't understand the salary cap, and he was calling people stupid in his comments and different things.
And you're like, hold my beer, sir.
I legit said, hold my beer. And dude, I trashed this guy in the comments. I mean, I literally was like, oh yeah, you're talking about we need to trade DJ Moore and how Poles is already doing it. Dude, you don't work for the Bears. You don't know that Poles is already on the phone trying to trade DJ Moore. I go, second off, you're sitting here saying that DJ Moore's contract is a bad contract. It's not. DJ Moore's contract is an average contract for wide receivers. Number 2, DJ Moore, Thuney, and Grady Jarrett can all be restructured with bonus money to save us $34 million, which I brought up in this guy's thing. I go, then you want to pick on the low-hanging fruit of Tremaine Edmonds and the fact that we're going to cut him for $15 million. I go, anyone that can read knows that that's the low-hanging fruit. I go, however, what you didn't mention is that we can extend him, spread that money out, and rework it to make that salary cap hit less and keep Tremaine Edmonds. I go, and what you missed, I go, is the fact that Cole Kmet is due $8 million. We can cut him, save $5 million, $3 million would be in dead cap. I go, and the most important one that we should be cutting is DeAndre Swift at $8 million with 0 dead cap. I go, so if you want to talk salary cap, I basically said in this guy's comments, I go, bring it, because there's always somebody out there smarter than you, dude. I go, and the fact that you're sitting there calling people idiots in your comments and everything else shows me everything I need to know about you, because you're a freaking loser.
Love it. Love it.
And dude, all like everybody in the comments was like, oh, like, and then the guy's like, oh, why don't you show, like, because he said to somebody else, because this guy is such a loser that he went to somebody else's Facebook page, saw that they're like an investment person and like a financial person, and then was like, hey man, why don't you come and share your LinkedIn info and let's see whose resume is better. And I literally was like, dude, I just destroyed you in the comments. Like, you're still, and he will not respond to me. He keeps responding to all these people that just make like a simple comment, and then he calls them stupid. He calls them idiots, calls them whatever. But the fact that I schooled him and he will not respond to me is just hilarious.
Like you said, there's always someone smarter than you. Always someone smarter.
And like I said, like, dude, literally, like, I was like, you realize even the bad contracts that we're in can be restructured and we can save $34 million. I go, and like Olin Kreutz said, you got Rome, who had a down second half of the season. Luther Burden still running some wrong routes every now and again.
Mhm.
You want a veteran like DJ Moore in that locker room still. DJ is a important part of our. Listen, we wouldn't have gone to the playoffs past
doesn't
Green
make
Bay
that. Yep.
if DJ wasn't there making those catches.
Yeah.
And I will argue that I understand everybody's on DJ Moore's case about, not, making that play and looking like he was half-assing it. I'm going to argue that DJ Moore was injured and
Concussed.
playing through injury, which is why he did not make that play, which is why if you're injured, you're not going to be there for the media after the game to have them ask you, hey, what's going on? Why, da, 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 for you to sit there and admit, oh, hey, I'm playing with a hamstring injury, or I'm playing with this or that, or put anything out there in the ether that's
But
going to hurt
make that
the franchise because you're playing through something that you shouldn't have been playing through.
right.
Whether that be concussion, whether it be an ankle, a hamstring, like DJ Moore took some brutal hits in some of these games that it's one of those where it's like, I commend him for playing through it. I know he's getting trashed in the media. I know people are talking trash that he didn't flatten the route, all this stuff. But the bottom line is that guy was being a warrior, basically saying, you're not taking me out of this game, not in this moment, not now, not in the playoffs. And unfortunately, it ended up hurting us.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, DJ Moore needs to be on this team next year, because with the strength of schedule that we're going to face next year, with everything that's going on, year 2, Caleb development, Ben Johnson's offense, all these things, I would say it's more important to have DJ Moore on this team than it is Swift or Kmet.
I mean, I know we're running out of time here, but Swift, probably a goner. I know they were talking about Travis. How do you say his name? Travis Etienne.
Travis Etienne.
ATM, yeah. I mean, that'd be great marketing for us because we can just make a ATM of him and him running or whatever. But I've always liked him, so that's the route they're gonna go. Great. But again, we'll see.
Yeah, let's be honest. I'm gonna put it out there. Like, there are numerous running backs that are going to be free agents next year. Breece Hall, Travis Etienne, Ramondre Stevenson, you name it. Then you go look at rookies that are going to come out. I know that there's really only one in Love from Notre Dame that is getting the hype right now. But you saw what Monangai provided us as a rookie, right? He was a game changer for us in the way of his running style. That to me is what the Bears need, is to have a Marshawn Lynch style running back, someone who is going to run violently.
Yep.
And that's not DeAndre Swift.
Oh no. I mean, we commend DeAndre Swift for stepping up after the injury and doing what he did. Yeah,
listen,
he played great.
He ran for 1,000 yards this year, and I will say that Swift is a much better pass catcher. And he's above average as a running back that can catch a football.
Yeah,
but at the end of the day, when it's 4th and 2, he's not the guy you want running the football to get those 2 yards.
No, not at all. And they should have been running it to the right.
I hate to say that, but when it comes down to it, and guess who's going to be a free agent this year? David Montgomery. Who do you run under and behind and for? Ben Johnson. So there could be a nice little reunion there of, David Montgomery coming back, probably on less money than $8 million a year.
Yeah.
Because he had a down season and he got cut. So like I said, there's plenty of options for the Bears. Again, the biggest thing for me, Ian Cunningham, do we get those 2 third-round picks? Because losing. We're gonna have to make tough decisions. We got Byard, Brisker, Nashawn Wright. We lost Ozzie Chiripolo. We have plenty of areas that need fixing, especially on the defense. Those 2 third-round picks could definitely come in handy.
Yeah. Before we go, does Trapillo's salary count against the cap if he's hurt for the entire year?
Yes, it still counts. Now, a lot of times what happens is like if a guy gets cut due to injury, there's salary like they'll work out like a deal for the salary cap. But
Like a
yes, like Trapillo, because he's still technically under contract because of all that. Yes, he's still. Now some of the IR stuff gets a little weird because they'll move it off like the main roster into like an IR section, but it still counts against the cap.
Okay. All right. Just a simple football question I asked the football guru. All right, y'all. That is it for today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing to everybody that's been watching, all new fans, our old fans, everyone that's been supporting us through 284 episodes. Thank you to our sponsors, 606 Media, True Chicago Sports Fans. And then check us out on our socials, especially on Facebook, where we're most active. It's on True Chicago Sports Fans on Facebook. On IG, it is True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast. TCSF Pod on the Twitter. And again, if you have a question or a comment or something you want to rant about, True Chicago Sports Fans at gmail.com. For JC, I am Big Z, and we'll see you next week for episode 285. And until then, be good to each other for the love of sports.